So Wendy Williams' ex Kevin Hunter is back for revenge, and this time he is suing Wendy's production company. Child, this man loves the drama, but is he really gonna get a check this time around? And what does Wendy think about his new situation? So the Wendy Williams Show has officially been canceled, guys, and if we're going to be honest, we all kind of saw this one coming because Wendy has been away from the show since the current season premiered in 2021. She has been battling health issues as well as struggling with her mental illness, and it's just been a lot. She did resurface a couple of weeks ago for the first time in months and said that she was feeling just about ready to return back to the show.
Like, I want to be all I can be and then get back to New York and get on down with the Wendy Williams Show.
But it was already too late because the network execs had already made the decision to cancel the show and replace it with the Sherri Shepherd Show, which will be hosted by Sherri Shepherd, of course. Sherri guest hosted the Wendy Show a couple of times this season, and she did so well that the network execs were impressed and decided to give her a show of her own. It has also been announced that the Sherri Shepherd Show will take over the time slot that was previously occupied by the Wendy Williams Show. But long story short, what this means is that Wendy just got fired from the show. This is just one of the several things that Wendy has to deal with, and I really hope that she is taking it well because it is going to be a big hit to her finances, especially because her assets are all still frozen by her bank. But do you guys want to know who else is going to be affected by the cancellation of the show? Her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter, that's who. Now, as you guys probably know, Wendy filed for divorce from Kevin way back in 2019 after he was exposed for getting another woman pregnant and welcoming a second child with the woman, Sharina Hudson. Kevin had been with Sharina since 2007, even though he was married to Wendy at the time. He also worked with Wendy on the show as an executive producer, and even though he was a cheat, he was a terrific producer and he did a great job on the show. Now, according to several reports, Wendy knew about the affair, but she had an agreement with Kevin that it was fine to do whatever he wanted with Sharina as long as he didn't get her pregnant. Well, Kevin did get her pregnant, and this was why Wendy finally filed for divorce after 21 years of marriage. But it's important to know that Wendy had most of the money in the relationship, and most of the money that Kevin was spending on Sharina was Wendy's money. Sure, Kevin worked on the show and had money of his own, but most of the dough was from Wendy. Now, not long after Wendy filed for divorce from Kevin, he was fired from the show. In fact, Kevin revealed that he was not fired face to face and that he was even allowed on the studio premises to pack his things. He believed that his termination was because Wendy was divorcing him and did not want to work with him anymore. At the time, he didn't say anything or try to do the legal route or anything of this sort. Well, that's all about to change now because he is about to make some big trouble for the network execs of the show. Not long after it was officially announced that Wendy's show was being canceled, Kevin decided to sue for unlawful termination of his employment, even though he was fired about 3 years ago. So according to the court documents, Kevin believed that he was fired because he was married to Wendy, and of course this is illegal for many reasons. He is suing Debmar Mercury, which is the production company behind the Wendy Show, for unlawful termination. In the lawsuit, he claims to have been present during the initial negotiation between Wendy and Debmar, and that it was because of him that Wendy was able to get a good deal from the company. The document said, plaintiff, which is Kevin, was used to being behind the scenes of Williams's prior ventures and used his business knowledge and street smarts to negotiate a significant financial increase from the initial contract being offered to Williams. Now, this is basically just saying that Debmar initially wanted to underpay Wendy, and it was all because of him that she managed to get a better deal. The document went on and was basically just about how Kevin worked so hard on the show and how it was because of him that the show was so successful in the first place and blah 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 blah. To be fair though, Kevin did play a huge role in the success of the show, and getting rid of him not long after Wendy filed for divorce was kind of shady. Of course, I don't think that Debmar is going to admit that they fired him because he and Wendy broke up. Now, Kevin is asking to be compensated, and he is saying that he wants nothing less than $7 million. That is one big compensation. He is also requesting for a jury trial and saying that he doesn't mind even getting more than $7 million that he asked for. Of course you wouldn't mind that. He also claimed that the reason he is asking for so much is that the Wendy Show recently got canceled and replaced with Sherri Shepherd Show, and he doesn't think that it's fair for Debmar to keep profiting off his work even though they wrongfully fired him. him. Now, we don't know for sure if his work on the Wendy Williams Show will be used on the Sherri Shepherd Show, so I don't think he has a case for that right now, at least not until the show premieres, and then we can see what's up. To be fair though, it looks like Sherri Shepherd's show is going to be more or less the same as Wendy's, so I kind of get where Kevin is coming from. Now, let's take a critical look at things. I'm going to be as objective as possible, but let's talk about it. If we're going to be fair, I think that Kevin is in the right to sue them because he did work hard at the show, and without him, the show probably wouldn't be as successful as it was. I don't think he was the best husband to Wendy, but I do think he was pretty good at his job. Also, the timing of his firing is kind of sus to me because it came out just about a week after Wendy filed, so it looks to me like the producers had to choose between him and Wendy, and they chose Wendy, of course. Now, it doesn't surprise me because Wendy was the star of the show. She was the one in front of the camera while Kevin was more of a behind the scenes guy, so it makes sense that they decided to let him go. Now, do I think that he's going to get his $7 million? Well, I can't exactly speak on that for sure because we're going to have to wait for the jury to decide that. In the meantime, let's talk about what Wendy thinks about this situation. According to sources close to Wendy, she believes that Kevin has an ulterior motive for suing. According to the source, Wendy believes that Kevin is doing this just for money. You see, Kevin was receiving spousal support from Wendy, and now that she's gotten fired from the show and doesn't have a source of income, well, there's a big chance that the spousal support is going to come to an end. Kevin really doesn't have any money of his own, and he was more or less just depending on Wendy's money to take care of him and his new boo, who of course doesn't have any money of her own, at least not enough to support her, Kevin, and their daughter. And I agree with Wendy here. I do think that it's just about the money. I mean, yeah, I think he is right to sue because he worked for it, but the fact that he is just now suing after about 3 years tells me that he's just running low on cash and he is desperate. But reacting to this drama, a fan commented, "I'm on his side. You can't just fire him because him and Wendy broke up, or at least if you're going to fire him, make sure you give him a good severance to keep him shut." This other fan commented, "He's nothing but a bully and a con." And this fan decided to be shady and tweeted, "Boy, bye. We know you missed that Wendy money and lifestyle. Now you want to try and sue for wrongful termination?" Now, Kevin comes with so much drama, but is that drama worth $7 million to the production company? Well, we'll have to wait until the jury decides. In the meantime, make sure you guys check out this other video.